Hello, bonjour. Today on Chef Jeff, we will be talking about melons. Oh, darn. Where's the prop man? In fact, I told you to get the prop man in here. I set this thing up and went.
I can't believe we're going to be working here all summer.
You'll believe it after a few 18-hour days. Summer interns work their tails off here.
Yeah, but Michael, think what we're learning, man. This is a whole course in communications.
I know.
Excuse me. You're not supposed to be in here. Can I help you?
We're here to see Mr. Walken, the producer.
I'm afraid Mr. Walken's tied up with a show right now.
We're the summer interns. I'm Eric Wong. This is Michael Sims and Cathy Anderson.
Oh, no. Didn't you get the letter we sent out?
Letter?
Last week. Surely you were told.
Told what?
I think you'd better speak with Mr. Walken.
I'm afraid I got some bad news for you kids. Because of state and federal funding cutbacks, things are a little tight around here. Even so, I thought we could keep the summer internship program. I mean, we don't pay you guys that much, but we're down to the wire. Frankly, there's not that much for you to work on anyway.
But why didn't you let us know?
I'm sorry, we had to lay off some clerical staff. I guess the notifications were never mailed.
I think this one deserves a phone call, Mr. Walken.
You're right, that's my fault. I'm sorry, kids. What can I say?
I guess I could ask my brother if he needs any help painting houses.
What are you gonna do, Eric?
I don't know. That was a big part of my fall tuition. I can always mow lawns. Maybe I'll go down the shore this weekend, see if I can get a job waiting tables somewhere.
What about you?
Who knows? I'm so angry. I wish I were still editor of the school newspaper. Would I write an article?
Hey, Mike, here comes your mom.
Hi, kids. What are you all doing home? Station fire you already?
You're close. The government cut back their funding, so they can't afford to hire us.
Seems there was a mix-up, and the letters were never sent out.
Oh, no. Well, you know what? Doesn't surprise me, though. Some government projects, including community TV, are going to suffer because of a shortage of tax funds this year.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm an accountant for the state legislature.
So you mean more kids besides us are gonna lose their jobs this summer?
Well, there's a good chance. The goal of providing summer jobs like the television station's intern program is paid for by revenues from taxes. But sometimes collecting those taxes conflicts with other goals.
Like what?
Like tax reductions to encourage certain activities, like business expansion, or keeping taxes low so people will have more money to spend on their own. There are plenty of interest groups around committed to those goals.
You mean special interest groups are responsible for the shortage in tax funds this year?
Well, it's not that simple, but there is a conflict between...
Well, you don't have to explain. I mean, I get it. A bunch of people are up there lobbying the state legislature for tax cuts so that they can make more money while people like us are out on the street.
Michael, calm down. There are no easy villains on this one. There's only so much money to go around, and...
I know the first thing I'm gonna do this summer. I'm gonna write an expose for the city paper on the summer jobs program and what these cutbacks have done to us.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know. But maybe it'll get somebody doing something.
Great. Where are you going to begin?
Well, right here. Senator Gillespie's gonna be in town for the next few days. I'll get an interview with her.
How are you going to do that?
I'll find a way. I called the editor of the newspaper, and he said if I come up with a good article, he would print it. So the next day, I went down to City Hall and waited. She's scheduled to meet with the mayor at 10. She's got to show up sometime. And there she is. Senator Gillespie. Senator Gillespie, I wonder if I can ask you a few questions about recent government cutbacks.
Who are you?
Well, my name is Michael Sims, and I'm writing an article for the city newspaper. Wonder if I can get your opinion on recent cutbacks to community television, and especially the elimination of the summer jobs program.
Well, we knew government-funded institutions like community television were going to suffer this year, but there wasn't much we could do about it. And the summer job programs, well, they were cut way back citywide. Tax increases just aren't popular.
Well, how do you plan to fund government projects?
It's always a problem. You see, it's difficult to get people to agree to tax increases of any kind, particularly when we also want to encourage certain activities by reducing taxes.
Well, by certain activities, you mean special interest groups, right?
In a broad sense, yes. If I'm referring to a group of people with an interest in a certain activity. For instance, The federal government allows tax deductions for things like charitable contributions, mortgage payment, business expenses. State and local governments will reduce taxes, say if a business locates in a certain area. And we also give a tax credit to a business as an incentive for them to buy new equipment to increase their productivity.
So you could say it's big businesses that have caused the reduction in tax revenues this year, right?
No, you couldn't say that. What you could say is that the small business is one activity that we want to encourage by reducing taxes. You know what I would do if I was writing this article? I'd go out and talk to some small business owners, see what they have to say.
Yeah, but I have a feeling I know what they're gonna say.
I wouldn't be so sure if I were you.
Thank you.
What you working on, Mikey?
I'm writing an article about government cutbacks. Hey, Mr. Arnold, you're a small businessman, aren't you?
Hey, you are talking to the proud owner of the Celebrity Deli.
Well, don't you think that people with the same income should pay the same amount of taxes, no matter what they do?
Maybe. But that conflicts with the goal of encouraging some activities and discouraging others.
Wow.
Well, the excise tax on cigarettes means that smokers pay a tax that non-smokers with the same income don't have to pay. And a sales tax means that people who save most of their income don't pay as much in taxes.
How much, Mr. Arnold?
Well, let's see. With taxes, that's $2.27.
And a tax break for businesses means, less tax revenues for government-funded projects.
Maybe. But it also means that businesses make more money, and that means more jobs and more people paying taxes. And the equipment that I can buy because of tax credits has to be made by someone, and the money that goes into that company to pay workers is taxed just like everyone else. You know, sometimes it irritates me how people always just assume that the businessman is the bad guy. Why don't you take a look at some of these organizations that are tax exempt? The university.
Well, why the university?
Because property owned by the state university is completely tax exempt.
Well, maybe I will.
Michael, I don't know much about reporting, but I always thought that a good newspaper article was one that was supposed to be objective. Sounds to me like you're pushing a certain point of view here. Anti-business.
Well, I don't editorialize, Mr. Arnold. Whatever I write will be objective, whether I agree with it or not.
Good. I'd hate to see you put all that work into something that wasn't top-notch journalism. Follow up on that university thing if you get the chance. I'd be interested in what they have to say.
I decided to follow up on Mr. Arnold's advice and investigate tax subsidies to the state university. I spoke with an administrator in the business office who suggested that I interview some students, get their point of view. Hi, I'm Michael Sims, and I'm writing a freelance article for the newspaper. I'd like to ask you a few questions. The first one I talked to turned out to be a graduate student in economics who had a part-time job in the housing department. She had some strong feelings of her own about government subsidies.
So rental housing is way too expensive. If the university didn't provide dorms, we couldn't afford a decent place to live. And it's because the university doesn't pay property taxes that they can afford to keep student housing costs so low. If they had to pay taxes, they'd have to charge us more. And if they had to charge us more, I couldn't afford to stay in school.
But those same property taxes make up revenues which could go towards public projects. And those projects provide jobs and services for people. I lost my job at Channel 10 because of government cutbacks.
That's too bad. But getting an education is important, too. Listen, when it comes to paying taxes, it seems like the same problem happens over and over again. On one hand, they want to raise them. Then on the other hand, they want to lower them. But no matter what they do, we gotta pay them.
It's not as simple an issue as I thought.
You know who you ought to talk to? Some of those non-profits, like daycare centers. Those guys don't pay any taxes at all. Listen, I gotta go. Good luck.
This was starting to get complicated, but maybe there was something to this non-profit angle. I decided to visit a government-subsidized daycare center, see what they had to say.
I wouldn't be able to keep this center open if it wasn't for government funding and tax-deductible contributions. Plus, the people who use the center get a tax credit for part of the money they pay me for taking care of their kids.
Are you saying this place is totally tax exempt?
No, we still pay payroll taxes.
Supported by government funding and private contributions. I can see why we'd want to support a service like this, taking care of kids. But it is kind of a business, and tax revenues are being lost. Can't you operate like a regular business and not be dependent on the government and individual contributions?
Yes, but then we'd have to charge a lot more for our service. And some of the families who bring their children here can barely afford what we charge now.
So, did you hear anything about your article yet?
No, not yet. It's only been a week.
I guess it's back to another day of painting houses.
You wouldn't believe the lawn I mowed this morning. It was as big as a football field, with hills. My legs can be stubs by the end of this summer.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing the same thing. Hey, look, they printed my article.
Where? Let me see.
Hey, congratulations. This is great.
This makes me an official journalist.
There I am.
Hey, wait a minute. There aren't any villains in this article. I mean, I thought you were going to write an article on special interest groups and how they take money away from things like community television.
Yeah, but what I found out, it's more complicated than that, like Mom said.
Michael, it's for you. It's Mr. Walken from the television station.
Walken the weasel. What do you think he wants?
How should I know?
Yo!
What is it?
They want me back.
Who?
Oh, the television station. They just got a grant from the local Chamber of Commerce to do a series about taxes and conflicting goals. And Peter Walken, the producer, wants me to be a researcher. And he says he may have some work for you two guys.
You're kidding. Well, what do you know? And I was just saying what a nice guy that Mr. Walken is.
Like I said in my article, there are no villains.
The content of Understanding Taxes was developed in cooperation with the Joint Council on Economic Education and school and economic education agencies from the entire United States. Funding was provided by the Internal Revenue Service. Facilities for this production were provided by the Educational Film Center. Understanding Taxes was produced by the Agency for Instructional Technology.